we are, me and Sophie and Obie, our precious little 7-month-old Catahoula puppy. Today we're going to talk about what we wish we knew before we got Obie.
Well, what if we do this? 8 things we wish we knew about Catahoulas.
1, 2, 3.
One thing that's really surprising is he needs so much stimulation. Like, aside from training, he just needs to engage, right?
Yeah, it's like if he doesn't get to play, he's like jumping on the tables like, what can I eat? What can I chomp? What can I play with? And we're like, well, we need other dogs here.
Yeah, so other dogs are the best type of stimulation. Humans are cool too, but he likes to play rough. And that leads to the next thing. Like, he's very active and he's very loud and he's very vocal. Right now he's asleep, but in the moments where he's like, when we're outside in around his crate space and he's in the crate and he wants to be with us, can you do his cry?
Yeah.
Catahoulas are a very vocal breed, and we didn't know that until he showed up. And other hounds too, they like scream and yelp, so prepare yourself if you're getting this kind of dog.
And also, here's just like a little warning if you're gonna get one. I know they're small now, but get a big crate, because they're really they can be like 70, 80 pounds, and this guy's probably gonna be around 75-ish.
Yeah, and tall. So he's a pretty tall guy. He has long legs. He's not standing now, but he's a pretty big guy. So that's a good tip. So get a big crate from the beginning.
Maybe if he wakes up, I can like dance with him. Woo, woo.
Another things about their health that we didn't know, because they've got this like narrow little rib cage, which is that type of dog. He can be prone to stomach bloat and acid reflux, and we learned this the hard way. So one day he's licking the air with his tongue, like tongue sticking out, licking the air, eating a ton of grass, not drinking water. Didn't know this at the time, but when we researched it, said, oh my gosh, this is like really dangerous.
Yeah.
He could get stomach bloat, and because their rib cage is narrow, if the stomach bloats too big, it cuts off circulation to the heart, to the lungs, to all of his vital organs. So he could die. So Chris took him to the vet, and
he's my uncle.
They gave him a lot of liquids through IV. They monitored him. He stabilized. He didn't get to the bloat stage. So there's like the before bloat stage, which he showed the symptoms, and then if it gets to bloat, it's like they have to cut him open and do surgery. And there's a ton of videos out there that we've looked at where that happens. Thankfully, he didn't get there. But what it turned out to be is acid reflux and gastrointestinal reflux disease, GERD. Humans can have that too. And it's basically like the stomach isn't processing the food in the way that it should, and certain things can cause this. He had a round of antibiotics, which was probably a partial reason why. And then we were feeding him chicken and turkey. Turns out he can't have that. So a lot of dogs we know now that I'm telling people about this, they're like, oh yeah, my cat, my golden retriever, my whatever dog doesn't eat chicken or turkey. So that's another thing I wish I knew before. We're at like 9 now. But so yeah, the acid reflux is really interesting. We'll link to some videos that I've used that really helped me to do natural remedies, because you can give him drugs, but then he's hooked on the drug and then it causes more problems. So there's a ton of natural remedies, and the one remedy that was really, really the most effective is homeopathic remedies, which are these little pills that have flour and herbs and all these other things specific to the issue. And you can give them to they're for humans, but you can give them to your pets. Yeah. And you just dilute them with water, and he licks them up, and that changed his life. So that is something I wish I knew too. What about you?
Something that I learned. I kind of had an idea about this, but I didn't know that it was it was that effective on a dog. dogs change their personality when you change yours. So when you're like running, you're so excited, something like you're going to the beach. You get a phone call, we're going to the beach today. You're like, whoa! You're so happy. He just like, he'll react to that. He'll be like, okay, so this is like a party time. Let me chomp your hand. And I'm like, well, why are you chomping my hand? I didn't know. So I was like, I still don't really get the full thing.
You used to get really upset when he goes into play mode when Sophie gets excited. So like he sees Sophie as another puppy because she's a small child.
And I'm like, don't call me a puppy. I'm his sister.
That too, but if her energy is lively, his is like, oh, we're playing now. That's great. Look,
see?
Well, now he's itching.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. You wish you knew too, right? His allergies.
Another thing I wish I did know is, well, in the beginning he was pretty cuddly. There's a bunch of pictures where I'm like holding him, cuddling with him. Now I can't do any of that stuff. So when he like kind of grew out of cuddling, I'm like, but all dogs are cuddly, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
I wish he was a cuddly little guy. Well, sometimes he is. When he's tired, I can just lay with him. But
he wants his own space now, so he'll laying.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, but
he's
he'll
older than me.
He won't accept a lot of touching at certain moments. Like he's biting a bone, and we try to pet him, and he picks up the bone and moves over there with his bone. So yeah. Another
thing I didn't know, and I was kind of upset about, it's a puppy. You want to play with it, but he sleeps. Well, when he was a puppy, he slept like 16 hours a day.
Which
so
meant
I was like, wake up!
5 naps a day. Like every few hours he was napping.
And I would want to play with him, so I'm just like waiting here. When are you going to wake up?
Yeah. But it's a good thing because then when he's awake, he's like...
Yeah. And then I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Another thing is I didn't know that he could cough, or I didn't know he could sneeze, because when we first got him, he got pretty sick. So he was like, it was kind of unreal. It was like a cartoon.
It's a really violent cough dogs have. It's like
if they were throwing up.
Yeah. It can be really, really full body. So it's kind of scary when you see it.
Yeah. Another thing is that honestly, when we got him, our house was kind of like not ready for a dog because there was so many fragile things. Some things got broken, some things got chomped.
Yeah, lots of things got chomped.
I came home one day from my grandma's house, and I'm like, what happened to I have like this little koala statue thing, and I'm like, what happened to his hand? And you're like, oh yeah, Obie got to that. And I'm like, how can he reach that?
Yeah, the puppy proofing is, you've got to expect, like, always be one step ahead. So now you can reach even the tallest shelves. So all the things on the shelves have to be really puppy proofed.
Here's something that you guys, if you're going to get a Catahoula, here's something that you should know. Catahoulas are not poodles. You can't, I learned this, and I still do it sometimes. I tried it yesterday. I tried to dress him up. You can do that to poodles, but not to... He's not that kind of dog.
He's like, you're going to put something on my head?
I'll chop it. Yeah. We got him, like, these cute pajamas, like, when we first got him. It was, like, a month in, 3 weeks in, whatever. And we tried to put him on. He's like, no!
He hated it. He hated it.
He just...
He's not that kind of dog. He's like, I want to be out herding the sheep, herding the pigs. Well, what else? Anything else?
I didn't know how much a dog park could affect him, like how much it could change.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. It's actually a really amazing thing. So we've been going to the dog park most mornings and sometimes in the evening. And the first time we took him, he was so young, like probably too young.
Yeah, he was like...
He was just a few weeks. He was just like right after 8 weeks. Yeah, maybe 9 weeks. way too much. He was so scared. He had just, moved from his original family into our home with the humans. And then we're like, okay, here are the puppies. And he just hid underneath the bench and like would come out a little bit, tail between legs. So that was a little too early. So maybe wait a few more weeks. But now, oh my gosh, he loves it so
He'll
much.
just like jump on the dogs like if it's his own horse. Like, let me ride you. Woo! And the other dogs will be like, oh no, Obie's here, duck.
Well, not really. They like to play too.
Oh yeah.
But he's it's been really good, especially because a lot of people are like not inviting people over to their homes still.
Yeah.
So it's a really good meeting place for us. This morning there were 5 other dogs there that he knows. So they're all different sizes and all different breeds. So he gets like really awesome socialization, and it's big. He gets to run.
Yeah.
It's the most amazing thing. So definitely find a good dog park.
Yes. Here's something about this guy. This little cute puppy boy. He hates the water. He doesn't want to. He'll try when we're at the beach. It's a really funny thing he does. He doesn't like going in the ocean, and he'll try to like lick the bubbles. You know how there's bubbles in the water. As soon as the wave goes away, he'll like try and catch them with his paw, but then they all pop by then. So he's like, oh. But when he was little, he used to eat like straight up sand. It was really funny. There was like a pile of sand, and he'd just be like, chomp.
Totally.
And his mouth would be like. It's really funny. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. Those are the big things. There's so many great resources on YouTube in terms of like how to train and what to look for, and even just having a really good trainer that knows dogs. Like we have a really amazing woman, and I call her now and ask her about a lot of things is wonderful. So yeah, find your support. He's an amazing dog to have around though. We love him. Couldn't imagine life without this little puppy.
And I asked Jenks, I call my uncle Jenks or JJ, and I'm like, what would you do without Obie? And he's like, I'd be sad. And it's really funny because he was like, I don't want a dog before we got him, and now he loves them the most. Well, he doesn't love them the most.
Well, he loves them a lot, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.
1, 2, 3.